Dear Crystal, uh, this is Reverend George Aberdeen. I am trying to respond to your question with regard to homosexuality. Uh, First, I'd like to say that it is very difficult for me to conceive how could a man engage with another man in a sexual fashion. This is very difficult for me to comprehend, as I find, and don't get me wrong now, I am married and I have two kids and I live a celibate life, all right? Yet, as a man, I see the beauty of woman, uh, how should I say, uh, without anything that can be a substitute for it, number one. And I like to share with you to show you that it is difficult to convince people of certain things, as I suffered from a mental condition after being married 6, 7 years with a son and daughter. And for the many years that I suffered from this, and I couldn't understand how it came about. And of course, the only thing is to research and listen to your psychiatrists and doctors. And their explanation was all along that it has to be like some sort of a heredity, chemical imbalance. And they instilled those ideas into my kids and family, by the way, which is totally wrong. I'm here to try to, how should I say, convince people, okay, of what a mental condition is all about. And I have two recorded messages, by the way, on YouTube, two short 10 minutes messages that defines mental illness or mental condition. And for the many years that I was on medication, I could not, how should I say, believe that there is a way out of this. And according to what I hear, medication would be necessary all the time. And again, this is a very difficult thing to explain. And the reason I'm doing this is to show you how difficult it was for me personally to understand the cause of my condition and how God looks at it, and how way off psychiatrists and therapists and people in the mental health behavior, including nurses and stuff, that they are totally addressing the issue completely opposite to what God says it is. And because the medical community has this notion of chemical imbalance, etc., it was very difficult for me to be convinced myself. And after many years of praying to God, trying to understand why did I get sick and how to deal with the situation. And believe it or not, it took years for God and His holy angels to convince me in practice that in chemical imbalance, and that I can be well without medication and completely. Yet it took some time to get off the medication, as this is an art. They tell you you're not, these medications you don't get addicted to, but any medication, the Lord says, if taken regularly, the body becomes used to it, even if it's food. Just you become addicted to it. All right, I'm trying to make this short, Crystal. And I understand people look for short answers and stuff, but I didn't want to get into defining homosexuality before I explain to you how difficult it is to change people's mind based on what the medical community puts in people's minds and labels on medications and stuff like this. A lot of it is not correct, the Lord says. And by the way, He's proved many of those to me. All right? And His way of convincing the medical community is also by addressing my chronic sinus condition, which I suffered from for many years. And I've seen many doctors, done many tests, and taken allergy medication, taken antibiotics, you name it, okay? Never really helped, okay? And the idea is that if the medical community cannot properly address a physical ailment like a sinus condition, okay, it would be much more difficult for them to understand a mental condition and how to treat it, how to diagnose it, how to treat it. Now, I cannot get into more details than I'm presenting you here. I am just letting you know that before I address an issue like this, okay, it's going to be contrary to what people think of homosexuality, okay? And their acceptance these days of it is literally alarming, okay? And I wish that if you have not had the chance to listen to my 2 recorded messages, okay, to please listen to them, as this will give you a much better idea, okay, as to where I'm coming from, okay. And the Lord also defines homosexuality as a mental condition. And largely it is caused, unfortunately, by incest, from incest. And the damage done in those cases is so horrendous that the person, whether it's man or woman, can turn into homosexuality as a way to retaliate for the abuse they received in their own home.